Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhapadakamana Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Upam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Hari Lalita Shri Vishakhamritam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This verse is very instructive in our material life as well as devotional life. In material life, all of us who are sitting here, they have a father and mother. So it's a very instructive from material perspective. And most of us who are sitting here, either they have accepted a spiritual master or they are going to accept a spiritual master. They aspire to accept a spiritual master. So from a spiritual perspective also, this verse is very much instructive. In the background of this verse, it is given the Srimad Bhagavatam that there was a girl called Devyani who was a daughter of Shukracharya, and there was a girl called Sharmishta who was the daughter of Vrishparva, and both went to the river to sport in the water, and that time the Lord Shiva happened to pass by the river, and since both the girls they were sporting in the water without clothes, so they immediately came out of the water, and in a rush Sharmishta, she wore the clothes of Devyani. Now Devyani, she is the daughter of a Brahmana, and Sharmishta, she was the daughter of a Kshatriya. And so Devyani got very much upset with Sharmishta that how did you wear my clothes? And both had a heated argument, and it's given in detail in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And finally what happened, Sharmishta was so much upset that she took the clothes of Devyani and threw her off in the well. And she left the place, and that time Yayati Maharaj, he happened to pass by the well, and when he heard the sound, he extended his hand to Devyani. Devyani caught the hand of Yayati Maharaj and he came out the well. And once she came out of the well, she said that since you have touched my hand, now you have to accept me as your wife. So Yayati accepted Devyani, his wife, but on the other side, Devyani was very much upset with the Sharmishta. And she went and complained of her father Shukracharya. And Shukracharya got very much angry. As you know, by nature Shukracharya gets angry very fast. And here where the father of Sharmishta heard that Shukracharya is very angry, he also started off from his palace. And on the way he begged forgiveness from Shukracharya. And Shukracharya said, I will give you forgiveness on one condition, that you just follow whatever my daughter says. And Devyani says, whenever I get married, Sharmishta should come along with me as my maid servant, along with all of her friends. And Shukracharya said, he instructed Yayati Maharaj that please remember that Sharmishta should not get any son from you. So he said, all right, and both started, enjoying their life. And soon after the marriage, Devyani got 2 sons. And when she got the 2 sons, Sharmishta, she was a maid servant, and she expressed a desire to Yayati Maharaj that since I am your maid servant, then I need some child, some progeny from you. And Yayati Maharaj, although he remembered the promise, but he took it as a will of the providence. And he said, okay, you have the child. So then Sharmishta, she had 3 sons. And here, when Devyani got to know through her own sources that Sharmishta is pregnant, she got very much upset, and again she ran to her father's house. And Shukracharya was very much angry, and this time he was upset with Yayati Maharaj. And he cursed him that soon you become old and invalid. And after he cursed Yayati Maharaj, Shukracharya realized, what did he do? Indirectly, he cursed his own daughter. That's a result of the anger. And then Yayati Maharaj begged the forgiveness, and Yayati said, see, I have not satisfied my lusty desires. So please show me some way by which I can continue to satisfy my lusty desires. So Shukracharya said, my curse cannot be revoked. The only thing can be done if there is somebody who can take your old age in exchange of your youth, then you can continue to enjoy your lusty desires. Now in this world, who will take the old age in exchange of the youth? So Yayati Maharaj said, okay, I have got 5 sons. Let me go to my sons because nobody else will accept the proposal. So first he approached Yadu Maharaj. And Yadu Maharaj said, my father, I would have gladly accepted your proposal, but I want to follow the Varnashrama Dharma. And in order to follow Varnashrama Dharma, I have to get married. Instead, I cannot accept the sannyas order of life. And in order to do that, I must marry. I cannot give my youth. And again, Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that since Krishna was going to born in the Yadu dynasty, so Yadu Maharaj did not want to postpone the appearance of Lord Krishna. So very respectfully, he declined the proposal of his father. Then Yayati Maharaj approached 3 other sons, and Srila Prabhupada said they were all lusty sons. And they said they will continue to satisfy their senses forever in the life. So they said, Father, sorry, we can't accept your proposal. And then finally, the youngest son, Puru Maharaj, he was left. And with a great hope, Yayati Maharaj approaches his youngest son, Puru. And as soon as Yayati Maharaj approaches Puru, Puru recites a couple of verses. The one verse is previous to this verse, where Puru Maharaj says that who in this world can repay the debt to his father? And it says it's by the mercy of the Father that one gets the human form of life through which he can fulfill all his desires and he can go to Krishna. And then he says, Pitashri, I am feeling ashamed that you had to ask me my youth. And in that context, he recites this verse. And in this verse, he mentions there are 4 types of sons. It's not 4 types, 4th is not a son. It's only 3 types, right? So the first type of son is a Uttama Chintita Puriyatan. The first class son, who is the first class son? That who, without being asked by the father, he gets to know what is in the mind of his father. Or another meaning of Chintitam, who is full of anxiety. How to fulfill the desire of my father. That's the first class son. The second class son, Proktkari to Madhyama. The second class son, who will follow the order of his father after he is given an order. He is the second class son. And the third class son, Adhumo Ashraddhaya Purya. The third class son, who will obey his father, but Ashraddhaya, without any faith, without any reverence. And finally, the last is Akarta Uchcharitam Pitu. Akarta Uchcharitam Pitu. Uchcharitam means Uchchishta, like a stool. That a son who doesn't follow the instruction of his father, even after being told, he is like a stool. He is not in any category, first, second, third, and that's what we have to remember. So, in our material life, we see that we always talk about the obedience. But whenever we talk about the obedience, we always talk about the obedience to the spiritual master and obedience to the Lord. But generally, we tend to forget. I'm saying we, but I should be saying I, but I used to say we. So, generally, we tend to forget that obedience starts from the parents, and it's coming from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not only Yayati Maharaj, we have so many examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam in our scriptures where we can learn how much they were obedient to their father and mother. We know the example of Bhishma. He was so much obedient to fulfill the desire of his father that first he says, okay, I won't ask for the kingdom. Okay, you won't ask for the kingdom, but your son may ask for the kingdom. Then he took a vow, okay, I will not marry for my whole life. And he continued to maintain his vow. I know, right? I think you are going through the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And Parashuram episode is there. In the 9th canto, Parashuram episode is there. Father said, the Jamdagni, he was upset with his wife Renuka. For a very small thing, she went to the river and somehow she got attracted to Chitrada just in the mind. She did not do anything. And she got late in bringing the water. Jamdagni got so much upset, he ordered his sons, okay, chop her head. The sons refused, who will chop the head of mother? Then he asked Parashuram, okay, now you chop the head of your mother and even your brothers. And as soon as Parashuram heard, immediately first chop the head of brothers and then chop the head of mother. And then Jamdagni was very much happy. He said, you are my obedient son. He said, my father, I am your obedient son. But then I want some blessings from you. Not he who sought the blessings, rather Jamdagni himself said, okay, now you ask some boon. He said, I want only 2 things. That you bring my brothers and my mother back to life, first thing. And second, they should not remember that this episode ever happened to him. Right? So he said, Tathastu. And then that episode got over. So we learned from the episode of Parshuram. Although I am not saying that you should follow to that extent, because your father is not, none of our father is Parshuram, right? And none of our father is like Jamdagni, no one is a Parshuram. So we shouldn't follow that example. But in the scripture it is given that to what extent obedience is required. We call Vithala, right? Go to the temple, Pundarika. He was so much absorbed in serving the parents. The Lord Krishna said, okay, let me go and see this boy. And Lord is standing at the door. And Pundarik said, okay, just wait there. He threw the brick, Vithala means the brick. He said, just be there. I am busy in serving my parents. And Lord is simply standing there, standing. Then Rukmani got worried that where is my Lord? I have not seen her for so many days. She came down and she saw that, okay, my Lord is standing on a brick. Pundarik saw, okay, Rukmani said, okay, this is another brick. Just you also stand there and don't move from there. I am busy in serving my parents. And even now, the Lord is standing there as it is, right or no? And Pundarik is busy in serving the parents. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to settle in Vrindavan, right? He did not settle in Vrindavan. Why did not he settle in Vrindavan? Mother said, that my son, okay, you are leaving the house. Okay, although I don't want you to leave the house. But since you have decided, you can leave the house. But at least do something that you stay near Kolkata, near our house. So he said, okay, I will go and stay in Jagannath. Lord Ramchandra, father said, just imagine, that everything was ready for a Rajya Abhishek. And he got to know that he used to go to the forest, not for one day, for 14 years. And Srimad Bhagavatam says, just to fulfill the desires of his father, he gave up 5 things like a liberated soul would give up his body. Means there is no attachment in it. Like many times we hear in the context of Bharat Maharaj, that how did he give up his kingdom? He gave up his kingdom like a person who gives up the stool. Like we pass the stool and we don't look back at him. So same thing like, Lord Ramchandra. Father said, you go to the forest and he gave up Rajyam, Shriya, Pranayina, Surado, Nivasa. He gave up his kingdom. He gave up his opulence. He did not take anything with him. Pranayina, relatives. He gave up even the relatives. Lord Rama did not allow anyone to accompany him after a certain point. He gave up Surada friends and Nivasa. He did not take even anything to build one residence in the forest. Like in case of Krishna, when he approached Duryodhana, he said, these Pandavas, they are Kshatriyas. They are not supposed to beg. So give them at least 5 villages. Right? It's their right. So same thing, Lord Rama being a Kshatriya had a right to ask just for one house. He did not ask even that. And Sabharya, he left all these things along with his wife. That kind of obedience. We have the example Lord Krishna. It's 3 verses Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam. In 10th canto, 45 chapter, 5, 6, 7. After Lord Krishna released his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he's begging forgiveness. That my dear father and mother, please forgive me. I could not serve you due to the fear of Kamsa. And in that context, Krishna is telling us, or he's telling his parents, and that is for us, that he says that through one's body, one can acquire all the goals of life. And who gives us this body? It's the parents who give us this body. And Krishna says, even if anyone serves his parents for entire 100 years of life, Kali Yuga, average age of a man is 100 years. So Krishna says, even if you serve 100 years of life, you cannot repay the debts of your parents. And he says, although one is capable to do, but he doesn't serve his parents Atmena and Dhanena. He doesn't serve his parents. Atmena means physically, and Dhanena means by money. Then after death, he has to eat his own flesh. So this is after the death, that you don't serve your parents physically and by some money, whatever you can do in your capacity. But what about in this birth, what happens to somebody who doesn't serve the parents? Then Krishna says that Mata Pita Bharyam Shishum Gurum Vipram Prapannam. 7 types of people. He says if you don't serve 7 types of people, including, it says Mata, Pita, father, mother, Bharya means wife, Shishum means a small child, Guru means spiritual master, Vipram, Brahmana, Prapanna, anybody who has come to your shelter. Then you are a dead body. Although you are breathing, but still you are like a dead body. So much emphasis has been given in our scriptures about the obedience to the parents, serving the parents. Our Guru Maharaj, spiritual master, he was very much particular about obedience to the parents. He, in 2008, 2 years before he departed, I asked Maharaj that, Maharaj, I have read, I was reading one time, Gaur Govind Maharaj, one book, it's on the spiritual master. So Gaur Govind Maharaj was saying that although there are general instructions from every spiritual master to the disciple, like, chanting 16 rounds, blah, blah, right? But still, every spiritual master will give some instruction to his disciple according to his capacity. So I requested our spiritual master, Maharaj, you please give us some instruction in writing. So I gave him 5 papers. I sent those 5 papers through courier. 1 for me, 1 for my wife, and 3 for my children. So he wrote instructions for each and everybody. And for 2 of my sons, my first son is now 24 years, and second is 22 years in. For first son, he wrote only one thing, that my dear son, you simply obey your parents. Nothing about chanting, nothing. And second, he said, you try to learn flute, because by that time he learned playing mridanga and harmonium. He said, now you should try to learn playing flute. And for the second son, he mentioned only one thing, that you should offer prostrated obeisances to your parents. 2 things he mentioned. That was 2008. Now it's 2019. And now I realize, why did Maharaj said these 2 things to my son? That time Maharaj could see that what would be important for these 2 kids. Maharaj said, without obedience, this universe cannot run. Maharaj would always give the example of the sun and earth. Yasyagya Brahmati Samrata Kal Chakra. The sun is rotating in its orbit and maintaining a certain distance from the earth. And it has been going for millions and millions of years without any objection. Sun will never object, why should I always rise from the east? Earth will never object, why should I stay only this much distance from the sun? And the result is that the whole Srishti is going on. But as soon as there is a disobedience, then either we are burnt or we are frozen, right? As soon as the distance between earth and sun get imbalanced, either the earth will get burnt or frozen. Same thing Maharaj says, that as soon as we disobey our parents, either we are burnt or we are frozen. We can't move anything. And whenever we talk about the parents, based on my past experience, I want to share a few things when it talks about obedience to the parents. And after that, we will talk about obedience to the spiritual master also. And I talk obedience to the parents first, because that's a place where the obedience to the spiritual master starts. The spiritual master won't accept us if we are disobedient to our parents, right? If any spiritual master gets to know that you have hurt your parents, I'm sure he won't allow you to do it, right? So, being the father of the 2 young boys, the grown-up boys, I believe the worst thing we can do with our parents, to be angry on them. The worst thing we can do with our parents, to get angry upon them. And I I have been angry upon my father and mother many times. But whenever I reflect upon that, then I always feel sorry that I shouldn't have done it. Maharaj was so much particular about obeying the parents. Maharaj said, whenever you are in front of the parents, don't even look into their eyes. That's how you should be talking. You should always keep your eyes down. Maharaj would say that don't even raise your voice in front of your parents. That's how you should approach your parents. And if you don't do it, then don't expect that Krishna will accept you. Having known that what Krishna has said about serving the parents. And when we are in front of the parents, we shouldn't be arguing with them. We shouldn't be arguing. Devuti, she was asked by her parents to accept who? Kardama Muni. See the position of Devuti and see the position of Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was, there is no comparison, right? But okay, now, simply my father said to accept Kardama Muni, my husband, okay, I would accept him. And not only she accepted, she served him with full heart and attention. And what was the result? Then Kardama Muni, he knew the desire of his wife. Then he made a palace, the floating palace. It's palace you just can't imagine if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And for thousands of years, the palace was floating in the sky with thousands of maid servants, and both enjoyed. And then came down, and then due to the obedience, Srimad Bhagavatam says that Devuti was able to get Lord as her son. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not argue with his mother that my mother, if I don't go to Vrindavan, I won't get liberation. Simply accepted the order of mother. Okay, you want me to be nearby? I will stay there. And when we argue with our parents, what happens? They get agitated. Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, Krishna mentions the people who are dear to him. There Krishna does not say that if you chant my name, you are dear to me, read Bhagavatam, you are dear to me, blah blah, right? There last 4 or 5 verses, Krishna says, you do these things, you are dear to me. Do this thing, you are dear to me, right? So one of the verse, what Krishna says? Yasma no vijite loko. Loka no vijite. That one who does not agitate anyone is dear to me, right? So why don't we think that anyone includes our parents also, right? Whenever we read that word, we always think that anyone means it's a devotee or the spiritual master, right? Jivera Sarup hai Nitya Krishnadas. Everyone is a servant of the Lord, including our parents, right? They may not be chanting, doesn't matter. But what is the Jivera Sarup? Eternally they are servant of Krishna. Sooner or later, they will come and take the shelter of Krishna. So don't agitate our parents. And then, if we don't want to agitate our parents, then we have to be tolerant of their nature. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj says, Naham Ninde Chas Tomiya Swabhava Vishwam Janama, right? That I am not here to criticize or praise anybody. Why? Swabhava Vishwam Janama. That everybody is born with a different nature, right? Everybody has his or her own nature. In material world, we accept so many things as it is without expecting them to change their nature. We accept the fire, right? Do we ever ask fire to change its nature? No, fire will not change the nature. We accept the water. Will water change its nature? We accept the trees. We accept the sweetness. We accept the sourness, right? So many things as it is without any argument because it's their nature. We can't change it. So similarly, everybody is born with a different nature. Now the nature is not going to change. That is not in our hand. They are born with their own nature, controlled by Krishna, right? Controlled by Devi. But what is in our hand? To control our own nature, by which they don't get agitated. Many times we chant Trinadapi Shunichena Tarodapi Sarishana. We have to be more tolerant than a tree. More tolerant than a tree doesn't mean simply that somebody is inflicting miseries upon you, you tolerate it. It even means tolerating others' nature by which they are born. And many times we say that I am tolerating this Prabhu, this Mati, that and all. So Maharaj always used to say that all the times you complain that I have been tolerating this person. But you should remember that other person is also equally tolerating you. Right or not? We shouldn't complain that we are the only one who is tolerating others. Even others are tolerating us. We are not free from fault. And then, another thing, fourth thing, we shouldn't talk ill about our parents. They may have hundreds of bad qualities. Never ever mention about their bad qualities. Many times we hear saying that, Prabhu, family, nobody was chanting. I started chanting, with that effect, my father gave up this smoking, my father gave up this thing, my father gave up this thing, father gave up this thing. No need to mention this thing. No need to give the example of your parents. They are always worshipable for you. Always worshipable. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto, you will read, in the context of Lord Rama, Shukadeva Goswami mentions about Dasharath Maharaj, that what kind of person he was. It says that Istrai Nasya. Istrai Nasya means it's not a good quality of a husband. It's a henpecked husband. जो हमेशा अपने पत्नी के पीछे भागता रहता है. पत्नी जो बोलेगी वो करेगा, right? Istrai Nasya. That's how Dasharath Maharaj has been described. But despite being this, Lord Rama did not object, did not speak anything ill about not only Dasharath Maharaj, even about Kaikeyi. After he returned from exile, it is said, the first thing he went to see Kaikeyi Mata. He was always concerned about the welfare of Kaikeyi. And we should remember, we are married, we have the kids. That kids are watching us. If we speak ill about our parents, then kids are capturing those words in their ears. And sooner or later, that will be reflected upon us. And then, another thing, Srimad Bhagavatam says that we have to serve our parents. Atmena Dhanena. Atmena means physically, whatever we can do, we have to serve the parents. I remember Radha Govind Maharaj once he was telling about his father after he took the sannyas. He said, he was giving the example of his father. And he said, my father was sick. And he said, I left everything. And I was just with my father for many days. And he was bedridden, including cleaning his stool and urine. He said, that's also service to the Lord. And he said, before his father left his body, father blessed him with the devotional service. He said, all your desires be fulfilled. Dhanena, whatever riches, it's not that we, the parents, expect all our riches, right? But we have to offer our riches, whatever we can do, we can offer it to them. And many of us, we offer our riches to them. But one thing, we should offer with respect. We should offer, but never ask any account from them. कि अभी तो आपको इतने पैसे दिए थे, इससे क्या हुआ, right? अभी तो इतना पैसा भेजे, कहाँ गया पैसा? Our parents, they never sought any account from us, right? उन्होंने कभी हमारा account रखा? They spent so much on us, right? But they never kept any account of whatever they spent on us. So when we offer anything to our parents, it should be with love and respect. And our parents, it is said that they don't need only our money, they need even our time also. Maharaj used to say that whatever way we be busy in our devotion service, at no time you should be so much busy that you don't have the time even to see your parents. In our Abu Dhabi, I've been living in Abu Dhabi for 25 years. So my father and mother, I lost my father many years back, lost my father and mother-in-law. Only my mother is there. So I used to call my mother many times on my birthday. Right, okay, you please come, blah, blah, right. She won't come. And I would think, okay, now I called my mother, she is not coming, so I fulfill my responsibility. Then sometimes I would send the money, I would think, okay, why should I go to India and spend 2,000 dirham? And better save the money, save to my mother. But until a few years back, I realized that the money cannot buy the happiness. What she will get when I'm there, when I'm physically present before her. So last, I think 3 or 4 years, I make a point that every birthday I would be there in India with my mother. It may be just 1 day, 2 days, doesn't matter. And I feel so much happier. So the thing is that when we deal with our parents, Srimad Bhagavatam is what? Our Guru Maharaj used to say, the Srimad Bhagavatam, 90% of Srimad Bhagavatam is about our behavior. 90% about our behavior. 10% about the devotion service. Go to any canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, from canto 1 to 12 canto. Most of the places, you would see how the people were dealing with other personalities, right or no? We can meditate. So similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us how to deal with our parents. When it comes to our parents, there is no consideration whether devotee or non-devotee. There is no consideration. They are simply our parents and worshippers. I got to know from one devotee, he was narrating one instance that he was in Bengal. There was one brahmachari he won't offer obeisances to his parents. He said, now I am Brahm Dikshit, I am very senior devotee, so now my parent, they are not the devotees, so they should offer me the obeisances. So this is not the devotion service. At no stage, we should not think that we would come to, ever we would come to a stage where our parents would worship us. There is no consideration of cleanliness or uncleanness when it comes to our parents. I have got one devotee couple in our Abu Dhabi, Girdhari Prabhu. So they spent 20 years of their life, youth, in serving their old mother. She left the body recently. She was 95 years old. And for many years, she was bedridden. And the amount of service they did, I just can't tell you, Prabhuji Mataji. And not only the son, even the daughter-in-law, the amount of service she did, I just can't tell you. Many times we think, okay, no, she has not taken a shower, she has not taken a bath, he has not taken a bath, how can I touch him? When I'm in Vrindavan, on my birthday, I would get up ready for the Mangla Aarti. My mother, she can't get up birthday because, because of her health. So before I leave for the temple, I would touch the feet of my mother and embrace her. Although she has not taken the bath. When we were young, when we were kids, right? We were passing urine in a stool on our mother and father lap, right? There was no consideration of cleanliness or uncleanliness. That was our parents' mood. So when we serve our parents, we should carry the same mood. No consideration, devotee, non-devotee. No consideration, cleanliness, uncleanliness. And as I mentioned about the respectfulness, when Nand Baba asked Krishna to bring his paduka. You have seen the picture of Krishna? It is here somewhere. See, yeah. It is here. Thank you, Prabhu. So, when Nanda Baba asked Krishna to bring his paduka, what we do? We should not be touching our father's and mother's chappals with our feet. Krishna was carrying on his head. We can't carry on the head due to the shame. We feel ashamed. At least carry with respect in our hand. Carry with respect in our hand. And we always pray for others, right? Let them be engaged in the devotion service. They should get liberation. Then why not for our father and mother? The point I am trying to make, Prabhuji Mataji, that most of the times we tend to neglect, or I should say I have neglected and I am still neglecting the parents. Dhruv Maharaj was liberated. The Viman aeroplane from Vaikunta was waiting for him. As soon as boarded, very simple, right? I don't want to go alone. Prahlad Maharaj, how much his father tortured him? But what did he ask from Lord Narasimha? What did he ask? Very first thing. You tell me. I'm not worried about me. You tell me what is going to happen to my father. Is he going to be liberated or not? So that kind of mood should be there when it comes to serving our parents. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Gunayanam Shila Dhanam Kritagyam Vriddhashrayam Samvranetuna Sampadayam. If we do these three things, Gunayanam Shila Dhanam, we have good character. Kritagyam. Kritagyam means we are always grateful. Vriddhashrayam. We take the shelter of Vriddha means elderly people. Shelter means obey them. Samvranatenu sampada. We will have all the riches. All the riches will follow them. And Prabhuji Mataji, forget serving our parents. Atmena dhanena chahiye. Just their glance can give us immense benediction. The example of Gandhari and Duryodhana, right? At some point in Kurukshetra war, it was inevitable that Duryodhana is going to be killed. And Gandhari said, now over all these years, I did not remove my bandana strap, from my eyes, throughout her life. She was blindfolded. But only one time I will open my eyes. But you come in front of my eyes completely naked. There should not be any piece of cloth on your body. And your body will become a vajra. Nobody would be able to kill you. You remember this incident? And Krishna got to know about it. And Krishna was destined that Duryodhana has to be killed. So he played his trick. He said, this is not the way to go in front of your mother. At least have some rep around it. And Duryodhana lost the intelligence. Lost the intelligence means he forgot what mother asked him to do. Obedience was not there. So he tied the drape around his waist. And when Gandhari opened the eyes, and she was so much pain, and she saw that he was wearing a vest. So she threw her glance, and just by her glance, the whole body of Duryodhana became like a Vrajra, except the thighs. And that was the point which was used by Bhima to kill Duryodhana. So can you imagine the power of glance of the parents? Surada. It's fully beneficial. We just can't. Prithu Maharaj, he exchanged his youth. But what happened? He got the whole kingdom. Other sons got one direction, this direction, that direction. Prithu Maharaj got the entire kingdom. Devhuti, she got Kapila as a son. Bhishma got the boon that you can live the life at your own sweet will. So this is about obedience to the parents. And can I take only 5 minutes more? Just I want to talk about the obedience to the spiritual master. There are a couple of verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm sure you would have read those verses. But those are very instructive verses in the context of parents as well as spiritual masters. So I like to read the purport of those 2 verses which have been given by Srila Prabhupada. So beautiful purport Srila Prabhupada is giving. One is in the context of Lord Brahma is speaking to Swayambhuva Manu. When Swayambhuva Manu appears, Swayambhuva, the Manu Maharaj, immediately he would ask his father, please instruct me. What can I do? Since you have created me, now please instruct me. What can I do for you? So here it's a 3:39. So Lord is saying, Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very much pleased with you and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. And here Srila Prabhupada says, the relationship between the father and son is always sublime. And Prabhuji Mataji, one thing we have to remember, whenever we hear the word father, we can replace it with the spiritual master. And whenever we hear the word spiritual master, we can replace it with father. Both synonym. And I will show you, Prabhupada mentioned the same thing in the purport. So the relationship between the father and the son is always sublime. The father is naturally disposed with goodwill towards the son, and he is always ready to help the son in his progress in life. But in spite of father's goodwill, the son is sometimes misguided because of misuse of his personal independence. Every living entity, however small or big he may be, has the choice of independence. If the son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the father is 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. The father and son's relationship, as exhibited here in the dealings of Brahma and Manu, is excellent. Both the father and son are well qualified, and their example should be followed by all humankind. Manu, the son, unreservedly asked the father Brahma to instruct him, and the father, who was full of Vedic wisdom, was very glad to instruct. The example of the father of mankind may be rigidly followed by mankind, and that will advance the cause of the relationship of the father and son. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that the way it is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we should follow the examples of Manu Maharaj, the way he followed, the way he asked for the instructions from his father, unreserved. And there is another verse, Prabhu Mataji, it says, the sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, yes sir. And purport Shlava says, 2 words in this verse are very important. One word is Petari and other word is Guruho. The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument. Yes, there should be no instance in which the disciple or the son says, this is not correct, I cannot carry it out, when he says that he is fallen. So when it comes to the spiritual master, we are all trying to obey the spiritual master. But in one of these purports, Prabhupada mentions that we all have the cheating propensity, right? And many times the cheating propensity is reflected when we serve the spiritual master. We must serve our spiritual master instruction in toto. Toto means as it is without any division. Sometimes back, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, he was at our house and he was mentioning about Rajkot temple. He said, I have heard a nice temple has come up Rajkot and all. I said, yes, Maharaj. And Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj asked him, you know how did the temple come up? I said, Maharaj, Krishna and Vaishnava. He said, no. He said, it's all your disciples' faith in the Maharaj words that this temple has come up in. And at that point I said to Maharaj, that Maharaj, I had a faith in a spiritual master, but I did not have the faith like Devki Prabhu and Vaishnava Sevadas. Maharaj said, the whole temple should be made of marble. And now, not only the temple, even the toilet, each and every corner is made of marble. That's following the instruction in Toto. Guru Maharaj always used to say that I don't care, you are rich or poor, you are intelligent or non-intelligent. I just care one thing, that how much you obey me. I want 100% obedience. Don't talk about Krishna. I will handle Krishna for you. You simply obey me. We should, many times we think that I am doing this for the spiritual master, I am doing this for the spiritual master, I am doing this for the spiritual master. The point is not that what we are doing for the spiritual master. The point is that what we are asked to do by the spiritual master. That's what we have to meditate upon. Otherwise, the cheating propensity creeps in the devotion service. We approach the spiritual master. Maharaj used to say that when you approach your spiritual master, you should approach with a clean slate. You know, slate? Slate, you know, the board, blackboard. Because if the blackboard is clean, it's easy to write. But if the blackboard is not clean, we already have some reservation in the mind. Then what happens? Whatever Guru is telling you, it won't go into our head. Because we already have the reservation. We have the tendency to accept what suits in our program, what suits in our timetable, what suits in our comfort, what suits to our convenience. And we take those things to our heart. But all the time we have to see what we are asked to do by this. So many services. It is from the cleanliness. Maharaj always used to say that we should have Brahmishtik in one hand and Srimad Bhagavatam on other hand. Both are same. There is no difference. The point is that we must obey the spiritual. Once Devki Prabhu, who is the foremost disciple of Guru Maharaj, he wondered that Guru Maharaj, you always mention that you should obey the spiritual master. He said, what is the limit of obedience? So he said, if you want to breathe, before you breathe, you ask me that Maharaj, I want to breathe. Can I breathe? He said, to that limit, you should have the obedience. And he said, if you aspire to do it, then you don't need to worry about it. Everything will be. And when it comes to the obedience, I will read just one sentence from the Prabhupada purport. It's given in the 3 to 17. Srila Prabhupada says, even if one is the Supreme Lord, one must serve his parents. A son is indebted to his parents in so many ways, and it is the duty of the son to serve his parents, however great the son may be. Thank you so much, Prabhuji Mataji, for your time. I'm sorry I took a 15 minutes extra. Questions, we have so many other devotees. I believe you have studied much more than me. I was told that many of you have done the Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav and all. So I did not have the fortune to study in that detail. But whatever I could read and hear in bits and pieces, I try to share with you. Now please, Prabhu.
That is mentioned. Yes, sir. To his father. Because of this father, he was spiritual master also. He was very clear in telling us also. It's easy in such a case that to accept the father instruction directly. At least what I have seen. Parents are not having clear idea. We respect, we serve them, but we cannot follow their practice line. This is what I think.
So, I understand that there may be some disagreement with the parents, right? That's what you want to say? That parents may not know what we want to do, right? They may not about something which we do, right? They may have a different views, right?
Yeah.
That's what
they are not aware of the philosophy also. They are more metal minded and they tell us, those who are cutting, not into go that direction. So they didn't have clarity of it. We respect them, we are paying for them. We want to elevate them, also help them. But they didn't have clarity. So we cannot say yes, sir, in that case. So I was saying in the context.
Yeah.
That case was very rare. father was kind of spiritual master. He was like, so later also this single man got help during prayer time. And Lord Rama person became and stopped prayer, pushed prayer. So there's.
But sorry, Prabhu, the first point, our obedience should be unconditional, Prabhu. Your parents may not be a devotee, as I said. It doesn't matter if they are not. You may not accept their philosophy, but when it comes to disagreeing with them, you have to be very respectful when you are disagreeing with them. And as I said, you don't have to argue with them. Right? And again, we should not take the role of the spiritual master and try to be their spiritual master and try to make them a devotee. And for that also we have to be respectful. We have to see Krishna's hand in each and everything. We are a devotee. Brahman Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Ji Krishna Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. That we somehow we got the mercy of Krishna and Guru, we are a devotee, right? So Krishna's hand was there, we became the devotee. Someone is not a devotee, again that's also Krishna's arrangement. So I have to accept that fact, right? And be as much respectful as we can be, right? That's how I see. And again, there may be relative situations. So on that, I always suggest that you should contact your local counselor, you should contact some senior devotees, and you should contact the spiritual master. Because for everything there is a history behind it, there are some more details into it, right? So when you explain the thing in a context, then somebody can guide you better. But for me, like Pundrik, he was serving the parents, right? Now were they the devotees? Anywhere it's mentioned they were the devotees? They were the devotees? No, I do not. They were the devotees? Fine, they were the devotees, right? So that means we should find an example of somebody who was serving, who was not a devotee, right? No, that's not the point. Again, we miss the point. Prabhupada, when we read Prabhupada, so many purports are there, we can pull out the purports. Prabhupada his mood was not that you disrespect your parents or you obey your parents only when they are a devotee. We go to the office, right? Many of you work in the office. Do we obey? Or we are not in the office, right? And we spend 10 to 12 hours in the office. But do we tell our boss, you are not a devotee, shut up then? Do we try to make him a devotee? I think Rasta can understand better because they have to earn the money, right? But when it comes to our parents, we think about the philosophy. So, but anyway, Prabhuji, the thing is that, my view is that we should try to minimize our argument. I am saying minimize argument with the parents and have as much respect as possible to the parents. Jivera Sarup hai Mate Krishnadas, right? Everybody is a devotee. Once somebody asked Prabhupada, how do I know who is a devotee or not devotee? Prabhupada said, everybody except you is a devotee. So, there are always, two sides. There are always two sides of the same coin.
Against the wishes of parents, some devotees join the ashram. In that case, they are not following the parents. But the instruction should be towards how the parents should adjust. Many cases we see in this one also.
In this case, there is no one yes or no. This question, comes up many times. In case of our spiritual master, after he met Srila Prabhupada asked him that you should take the initiation. And that time, Maharaj very respectfully he mentioned that Prabhupada, I have not fulfilled my family responsibility. I am worried, that if I take the initiation, I may get distracted. So I want to focus on fulfilling my family. That's an example of our own spiritual master. That you ask who should be followed, right? Parents or the spiritual master. In Maharaj's case, he was not advised by his parents, but that time he gave the priority to his ordination. But he continued to follow Prabhupada unflinchingly. And another case, now there may be conflicting instruction between the spiritual master and the parents. So again, whatever we want to accept or reject, it should be in Gaur Vena. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The respect always has to be there. We cannot take both the instructions. We have to take only one instruction, either from the parents or from the spiritual master. One has to be rejected and refused. So it has to be with a lot of respect. And I would always like to go to the spiritual master and open the heart. That Maharaj, this is the situation I am in. Right? What should I do? And I would tell my spiritual master that Maharaj, somehow I feel like to do these things. Although I am not right, because then again I am approaching the spiritual master with a written slate. This is not good. But still, it's opening our heart, right? Radha Mara always says, you open up your heart with somebody, it may be dirty, no problem, but open up your heart. And about joining the ashram, I know in our congregation there are some, at least one example, very nice devotee, Bholanand Prabhu. The two kids, one is in Pune temple, I forgot the name, and another one in the Chopati temple, and both associated a very long time, and they are attending the classes, and so many things they are doing, somehow I don't remember the name, and both don't want to get married. And few years back, whenever Bholanand Prabhu will meet me, tell me, Prabhu, please tell my son, to come back to the house, to get married, And all the time I would think in the mind that this Prabhu does not know that how much fortunate he is, that his both kids have accepted the devotional service as a brahmachari, They don't want to get married then. Once they get married, they would be the path of suffering, there is endless suffering. And all the time I would say, okay Prabhu, no problem, let them come to me. And all the time I would, I would defer the matter. And I would always ask the Prabhu, did you force your son to go to the temple? No, I did not force him. So I said, now you are telling me that he should get married. That means you are forcing him to get married. But how do you know what is good for him? Joining the temple or getting married? Arjuna did not know what was good for him. Right? Fight or not to fight? I said, why don't you ask the Maharaj that what he should do? And now, over the years, the same devotee has calmed down, he is pacified, right? And now I think he has realized that his two kids are better than other grown-up children who return very late home, who are drinking, who are not obeying, who raise the voice, so many things they do. So now he is realizing. So, Prabhu, you are quite, elderly and I respect you. I cannot answer your question perfectly, but this is based on my past experience. And my past experience always says, at the end of the day, what matters, how do we handle the situation? We should give some time. We should not get agitated and we should not react to the situation. And over a period, Maharaj used to say the time is the best, into the time everything settles down.
Sometimes parents used to come and realize, share with us, they have spent a lot kids, and now it's the time for them to treatment for them, but they are not listening. So in that case, son is not following, not obeying the parents.
I think in this case, I know the parents, in our congregation also parents will talk. I am the father of two grown-up kids. So when they say time for my son to repay, it doesn't mean they want each and every pie back. I think somewhere in their heart there is a pain because of the disobedience of their children. It's not that they want the money. In the West, I have seen many families where the parents, they would lend some money to the son for their higher education. But there is a reason behind it, so that the son doesn't take it granted because it costs a lot of money. My son, he wanted to go to university. Cost a lot of money. I said, no, sorry, I cannot afford this much. Frankly, I can't afford this much. And now, even if I give him the money, I will tell him, son, once you finish your study, I need this money back because I am taking a loan. But in the heart, I don't want anything back from him. I don't want anything back from him. But simply keep them on the track. Many times, parents may say, okay, he's not giving me anything. And one more thing, even if the parent wants something from the kids to give them, it's good for them. Whatever we do for our parents, brother, anybody, it will come back to us manifold times. When it will come back, we do not know.
If parents are not monetarily,
If parents are not
comfortable, they are not in good shape monetarily, and they will spend. In that case, they require. That was it.
Prabhuji,
Not everyone requires from the kids.
my point is that whether parents have money or don't have money, in each and every case, it is the duty of the son to share a part of his earning with the parents. It's not that my father is poor, so I have to give him the money. It's my duty. Don't we offer some part of our earning to Krishna? Don't we offer part of our money to Guru Maharaj? So why do we neglect our parents when it comes to offering something to them? It's a matter of love. Many times we hear, when we talk about offering to Krishna, that Krishna doesn't want anything. It's like a small baby, taking the chocolate, giving to father. Father out of love accepts it. So my father is very rich, doesn't want anything, but still, what I want, simply the love. My son, whenever he brings money, he would give me, and I would give him back. I will say, okay, beta, just keep some money for Krishna and temple, I give him back. Then it is whatever he wants to give me fine, don't want to give me, doesn't matter then. It all depends, Prabhu, on the different situation, right? Person to person, situation to situation. Right? Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your patience. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Samasta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Entire God Premanande.